So in today's video, I want to talk about some key tips that, if utilized, will really help you on your kettlebell juggling journey, in particular if you are starting out. So firstly, the whole approach to kettlebell juggling is a little softer than what most people are used to. Now, here's what I mean by that. We emphasize this component of fluidity with juggling. There's a lot less aggression than is usually utilized in something like hardstyle kettlebells. And the reason for this emphasis on fluidity is that there is so much more control and intention that goes with being able to slow down as much as you can, because fluidity in my mind is slowing down as much as you can without muscling the bell. So you slow down too much and you're gonna have to muscle the bell. But we wanna find this balance between not too much tension and not enough tension. And so this idea of fluidity becomes really important. It opens up the ability to be more intentional because we're not tense. As soon as you're too tense and you're moving too quick, you lose the ability to dial in very subtle manipulations of the handle and different skills, because kettlebell juggling is inherently very complex. The emphasis, unlike hardstyle kettlebells, which is predominantly, all right, let's add more tension, get stronger, lift more weight. Kettlebell sport is taking the efficiency also, but is saying let's go for as long as possible and with key technique, but there's also this emphasis on endurance. All right, kettlebell juggling, the main emphasis is usually that complexity, that efficiency and technical mastery over a large variety of different skills. The next tip is going to be understand that you're not going to be incredibly good at this craft as you start. Juggling is inherently a very complex skill, like I just mentioned, and there's a lot of variety and there's a lot of new things to learn. And it's built on this idea of technical mastery. So I don't care how strong you are, how athletic you are, if you've been to the gym a lot or not, there's going to be a learning curve at the beginning of your journey that is important to be on. Okay, so appreciate where you specifically are on your journey and know that you're going to drop the bell a lot. I still drop the bell all the time. Just because you get better doesn't mean you drop the bell less, because you are always going to be striving for that next layer, that next threshold of challenge that's going to keep you equally as open to dropping the bell as someone who's just beginning. So use your drops as feedback, which is another key point when learning the art of kettlebell juggling. You drop the bell, you didn't just drop the bell. It's not because you're not good enough or you didn't do something right. It's because there's actually something that you weren't paying attention to, that if you did pay attention to, would have led to a catch. And that could have been you spun it too fast, or you didn't spin it enough, or maybe you missed that float point, and so when you pushed out the handle, it went too far away from you. Okay, there's always a reason why you drop the bell, and if you learn that and you don't take it as doing something wrong, it opens up a vast world of being able to use the feedback that every repetition gives you to get better and to get better faster and with more quality. The last tip for starting kettlebell juggling, so the first one is largely a somatic feel of, okay, the approach thematically to juggling is a little softer, and just remind yourself that fluidity and efficiency are key to the technical mastery in the sport. The second tip is a little more mindset, how we are approaching the challenges, inevitable challenges. Now, the third tip is going to also be technical. Okay, this is going to be more of a technical point, and that is get really dialed in with your 3D movement. Okay, so your 3D movement, being able to move side to side with proper footwork, being able to execute even our figure 8 pattern like this, and then of course dialing in that pendulum swing. Even just those movements right there. Cross-body tactical clean. Not only allow you to build the relevant strength you need to be able to execute a lot of the movements that we do in juggling, but also teach you how to navigate the body properly, okay? So when we're juggling, it's so often that we begin to get out of plane, and that's where injuries happen. That's where you knock a knee. If you stray away from moving laterally to at a slight angle. To mitigate that, we dial in our repetitions of 3D patterns, and so when it comes to juggling, we've already grooved all of those paths. You'll see that when I'm moving laterally in the front of the body, I am very intentionally moving laterally across the body. Okay? Same with moving in the back channel. So it's important to dial in your 3D movements. That's why I created a course called Moving 3D. It's not only an incredible course for functional, appreciating the functionality and the variety of movement potential that the kettlebell can offer, but it's also a key course for learning how to groove those movement patterns that if you then take in the juggling, you're going to be set because you're already so comfortable with moving side to side and between the body and across the body with our figure 8 pattern. And these are patterns that aren't taught in conventional kettlebell systems as well as conventional fitness. And so it's important to dial those in to make your juggling journey that much easier. So those are the 3 tips I would leave that if you integrate and utilize are going to really help. I have Moving 3D if you want support with the movement aspect, the patterns in my course Juggling Foundations, where I break down my exact approach that I've used as well as have taught hundreds of others to use to master that beginning phase of kettlebell juggling. And in there I also have some prerequisite skills, some Moving 3D skills for juggling. So either of those courses will set you up beautifully. Now I'm also working on another course called, I don't actually have a name for it, but it's going to be based on freestyle juggling. And it's going to be focused on developing more of the complexity side of juggling, learning how to utilize some really cool tricks, learning how to execute stuff like the OTS and diagonal OTS, and it's going to be a really cool course looking at a lot of flow-oriented kettlebell juggling. So that is it for this video. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think. Subscribe. I'm planning on posting a lot more videos to this channel, so subscribe, leave a comment, leave a like, and all the rest of it. We'll see you in the next one.